What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? It's your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. Welcome. It's been a minute since I uploaded on YouTube because for the past few weeks, since I got back in town, my wife has recently had surgery. Those of you who watch Latoya and Lord, you can now check up on us. We'll keep y'all posted on that side of the world on those things. I'm still doing my thing. And I just wanted to bring it to attention to people who basically have either started watching my channel, who have been watching my channel, or who have followed me on different platforms and so forth and so on. One of two things I actually wish to actually get jumping like on different platforms, because YouTube is just my momentary platform that I use just for keeping myself in the particular eyes of my subscribers on YouTube. But I will be on TikTok, and I also will be on Telegram. Now, I will leave my TikTok and I will leave my Telegram information in the video description, but I'll still be on YouTube momentarily. However, since my life is about to take transitions in many different stages, I need to spread myself out. But I still love my subscribers on YouTube, although I've been demonetized, although I have also been shadow banned. It is what it is. I go on TikTok Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, inshallah, Eastern Standard Time. Now, that can be anywhere between 12:30 to about 1 p.m. Anywhere between 12:30 1 p.m. If I'm not busy or something doesn't come up, unfortunately, on like the TikTok platform, they don't allow you to put up notifications and stuff, because it's more like an open air freelance sort of platform for social media. So it's a little different than this, but I can reach a lot of people in a TikTok for like 2.5 hours on live. I can reach thousands of people, as opposed to YouTube. I might get the 20, 30, whatever the case may be. So I will use my energy wisely on that platform and so forth. So that's where I really pretty much be. However, I wanted to touch on something for people who are dealing with issues of tax payments and so forth. And before I proceed, I will tell you that this does not constitute legal advice, nor does it constitute anything anti-government. The sole purpose of this is for informational and educational purposes only, as all my videos are. But I just like to put that out there before anyone has anything to say in the negative about giving legal advice. I'm just a man that reads, okay? Nothing stops a person from reading except the person. There's no mandate, there's no law, there's no edict that can be placed on education, proper education. Now, there can be a mandate and edict placed on improper education, but that's another story for another time. However, I wanted to talk to people about taxation for people who are suffering with this issue, which many people are. If you're watching this video, then you basically came across a gem. And I know a lot of people quote House Joint Resolution 192, and it's fine for them to do so. But I want people to understand that when you use it, or when you use anything in reference to law, as far as it being for a primary purpose and for it to have the conclusive effect that you need it to have, you must cite the law. Okay, people? You must cite it. If indeed you do not do this, it is not going to work for you, because just because you may know something doesn't mean that other people are aware. Okay? That's even for people who work inside of government. All right? So whenever you try to use something, please make sure you cite the law. All right? All right. Now, what I want to talk about is acceptable methods of payment. Right? House Joint Resolution 192 is an acceptable method of payment. And a lot of people who have tax issues do not understand. Like, I put a video up about promissory notes, and I often like to touch on promissory notes because promissory notes are considered an acceptable form of payment. We use them every day in society. So for people who are just unawares about how promissory notes work, we use them every day. Okay? When you take out a loan, you sign a promissory note. Okay? Whenever you apply for a credit card, there's a promissory note attached to it. Should that your signature that is being verified electronically is being placed on forms that you have no consent of. You consent to signing it, which means that you consent to terms and conditions that are written within those promissory notes for you to pay that corporation back. They know this. They tricked you with it for a very long time. However, when you actually understand what House Joint Resolution 192 is, House Joint Resolution 192 talks about public and private debts, irrespective of however people may feel on the fly about you have to pay your debt. No, you don't. They already written it in public policy. Any contract that is made contrary to public policy is illegal. Let's get that straight. 15 United States Code subsection 1 will tell you that. So anyone that wants to try to gain an argument or try to gain some type of leverage, any contract made against public policy, i.e. obligating the public to pay a debt of a bankrupt corporation, which means that the corporation is borrowing from the shareholders, being the people, being the creditors, is illegal. It's declared to be made against public policy. Look up public policy in Black's Law Dictionary. Look up contract. Look up principal. Look up debtor and look up creditor, and then look up bankruptcy. You don't have to take my word for it. I'm just here as a guiding light to get people to understand the proper way to execute House Joint Resolution 192. If indeed you do not understand that you have to reference this law, it is because they need a point of reference for those who are illiterate or ignorant to the fact of the legalese of what you're trying to convey to them. They're going to return your documentation to you. There's nothing more irritating to an overpressed and overworked workforce of people who get bombarded constantly with nonsensical letters from people in the IRS. You can make it very simple. You can take a 1040V, you can actually add the amount that you owe for taxation, and you put the corporation, i.e. the United States EIN number on there, which is to the Treasury. It's not hard to find, people. You can find it. Look it up. Google is free. So in regards to that, you are basically telling them in the acceptance of this, that this document is sent in good faith and in full accordance of House Joint Resolution 192. Word it however you wish. Your paperwork, your mind, your obligation, your outcome. That's what it is. So for people who always try to look for a certain way or like a path on how it's done, get out of the linear way of thinking, okay? You're going to have to start becoming more creative and more tactful in your approach when you're using these processes. So I'm going to tell you right now, do never get it in your mind. Do not be confused. There is no set way to do this. These laws change all the time. These people act finicky. And to be honest with you, as we empower ourselves on this, the system does what is called the adverse action. They keep their employees ignorant and keep them indoctrinated because in order for the system to work, they need someone to work it. They're not willing to work it themselves, but it's about the system of control and about the compartmentalization of knowledge. So with this new generation that's coming, since we have this information, I'm telling you to be readily prepared for what's to come. You're going to get a lot of rejections, but you have to stay your course. Remember, it comes from the opposite side when they're telling these individuals that this is false and so forth. It keeps the scheme going. Not saying that what you're doing is wrong in any instance, because no one ever sits down and does a project and not pay full attention to what they're doing, which is why you have to study, okay? So when you want to look up acceptable methods of payment, it is the Internal Revenue Code. Hold on. All right. Hold on. IRC 170. IRC 170. Okay, so you can start there. IRC 170. 26 United States Code 170. And you have to understand that when you read through this, which is going to take time, you're going to understand how to actually fill out particular tax forms. In this case, 1040. And for what you're actually putting it for. You're going to have to read, period. So for a lot of people who get frustrated at reading and studying, this ain't for you. Might as well cut this video off because I give citations. It was a time in history when I actually used to put, quote unquote, a lot of videos up there, and I used to show people how to do it, and people were taking my information, they were selling it to y'all. So I'm not going to do that anymore. If you want this information, you're going to have to do this work. See what I'm saying? Period. And when you do this work, you have to understand you're going to have to work it. It's your process. Again, it's your burden. It's your process. Simple as that. And that's what you have to understand. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to start studying. I mean, I can assist you, but I'm not going to hold your hand through this process. Because to be honest with you, the more people actually go into debt with this, you're going to be learning things constantly. which again is just re-educating yourself, let you figure it out for yourself without having to sit there and watch a bunch of videos on YouTube, so forth, so on, that drag on and don't really tell you anything. I'm just letting you know the magic that's within House Joint Resolution 192, and I just said it simply in less than 11 minutes. Particularly what I'm saying. Anything that is, any contract that is constructed and made against public policy, i.e., requiring you to pay a debt, is considered illegal, period. And I want y'all to understand that. It's considered highly illegal. Facts. So, within regards to that, let it be known that people who need to know this is just saying that you must cite the law. So whenever you turn in your tax forms, or even without the submission of the 1040V, submitting even, a tax return, or to actually fill out or actually file for taxes, you don't put your amount, you put exempt, and you put the discharge of the amount particularly in the respective space on the tax form. And basically what you do is you tell them that you accept it for its value, and you actually request discharge. A lot of people may make you think that it's not that easy. It's only because they haven't went through with it. I owe no taxes whatsoever. My wife, we're going to do this as a matter of fact, and I'm going to come back with the results on it for the naysayers. And once I actually come back with the results on it, because I do this in my own personal life, and for some odd reason we sent it off, and they just been delaying for like an entire 6 months, and then they sent back another notice. That's what they do. They're always going to send you back something, whether or not that's their error in response, but it's a response nonetheless. So it just lets you know that when you get something back, that they're still saying they owe you, even though you sent correspondence to them saying particularly that you would like to know how I owe you, or to validate the debt, they never will. So since you don't wish to validate a debt, but you wish to send me a statement of debt, which is evidence of a debt, but you never said how valid it was, and I wish to discharge it. So I hope that makes it a little bit more simpler for the naysayers and people who have something to basically conflict with what I'm saying. So hopefully I made perfect sense to those who really have ears to hear, and not just looking at these contents and videos as just mere entertainment because it piques their interest on something. And that's just the mature approach about it. So with that being said, you have to understand that the only time you're liable for taxes is really never. Taxations are voluntary, to be honest with you. The 16th Amendment never was properly ratified in 1913, fundamentally the same year that they established the centralized bank. But that's no coincidence. Your private property is not supposed to be taxed. Your wages, your net, your gross, is not income. Income is what comes in from dockyards and ships, if you look up Black's Law Dictionary. Now, I know a lot of people will be like, well, income is what you make. No, it's not. That is not income. That's why every time you answer what your income is, you should always put zero. Because according to particular signing documents under penalty of perjury, if you go by the legal definition of income, it is not what you make from net, gross, and wages. They are not synonymous. So your income should always say. That's why they always ask you on the application. What do they always ask you? Do you make money from any other source? That's when you're supposed to put your actual wages, net, and gross in, because now it reflects properly. See what I'm saying? I know that went over a lot of people's heads, but because so many people have been conditioned to fill in paperwork out just by what it says and not reading the legal definition, because every application you sign or any type of document you sign is a legal document, period. Anything that requires you to sign and date becomes evidentiary in regards to some sort of transaction. So take your time and read through what they're asking you, because everything that is put on an application, whether it's a job application, a loan application, a mortgage application, any application you get has access to several different statistical panels that exist within the commercial district called United States. And all of those entries that you put on that application are all compartmentalized and sent somewhere to build a profile centered around you being the individual contractee who actually put his or her signature on a contract, which is in the application. So you loaned out your information, which is why you get a lot of spam, which is why you get a lot of junk mail, which is why you get a lot of this stuff, because when you put something on an application, it gets sold, people. I don't care what you say or what you may think. Test me on this if you doubt what I'm saying. Fill out a job for an application and ask for the application back. They will tell you immediately that that application belongs to that company. Serious. Which is why they want you now all of a sudden no longer want to do paper applications, because once it's in the computer, it's in there, period. And what you put reflects what goes on that computer and how it affects your life. So you need to pay close attention to what you sign and what you're dealing with, which is why a lot of these people who come on these channels and these platforms have such a convoluted understanding on how this stuff works, because they want the ABC 1, 2, 3 method that was taught to them in school, and not realizing that this takes years and years of study and practice to perfect. It takes years to perfect, okay? So I'm not one of them people that's going to sit here and sugarcoat it for you. It takes years to perfect this status, okay? I know a lot of people can come on YouTube and social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever the case may be, and tell y'all a couple words that'll get y'all going. But they don't tell y'all how much work this shit is. This is some real serious fucking work, all right? And I'm just going to be the one to say it. It's real serious. And you got to be dedicated, and you got to be steadfast in this. But you're going to have to study ceaselessly, whether you believe it or not. I don't give a fuck how much money you pay somebody. You paying money doesn't validate your education on it. It's just you made a transaction. Congratulations. We do that shit all day long. But at the same token, what are you really learning from it? See what I'm saying? Are you really studying and reading? Are you really actively doing this shit? Because as you can tell, I'm still going. I've been doing this for 9 years. It is what it is. And I want people to know that. Simple as that. It's going to take a lot of study and a lot of application. A lot of nays and a couple yays. But as long as you get a couple yays, you know it's working. Simple as that. A lot of people want y'all to think that's easy breezy, easy life. No. What you have to understand is the redemption process is you basically disrupting someone else's profit. And you're exposing their corruption at the same time. See? So hopefully that clarified the error in the application of House Resolution 192 for a lot of people who don't get it. Your debts are not your debts. Your debts are only yours because you consent to something that you know nothing about. And the less you know about it, the better off it is for people who don't want you to know better, i.e. corporations. So with that being said, people, I'll leave off on this note. Redemption begins in your mind. It begins within your spirit. It begins within you. I don't care how many books you buy. You can have a whole library on this stuff. If you are not ready to reshape yourself from within, be prepared to be conditioned by that which is outside of you. If indeed you doubt that, then Godspeed to you. But if you do believe and you do understand that this takes a differential change of mind, a very significant one at that, then you understand for all intents and purposes, things are a lot simpler than complicated. That's why I tell you, a lot of people out here that y'all listen to, names aside, for any of them, it's an agenda. You see what I'm saying? It's an agenda. But again, a tree is known by its fruits. You see what I'm saying? A tree is known by its fruits. If indeed you don't see fruit, then there's no longevity going to the roots. Simple as that. See y'all later. Like I said before, I'll be on TikTok Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, inshallah. People who have emailed me or I have to contact as of the recording of this video, which is on the 5th, I am totally in the beginning of the month. It is 5/23/2024. I will definitely get back in touch with you as soon as possible. Like I said, your first time viewing this channel, like and subscribe. If you do not like and subscribe, it is what it is. Glad you can enjoy the experience, but you can't say that you didn't have an exposure to truth. Hopefully you don't get down years in the line and say, well, I heard that from somewhere. See what I'm saying? That type of time. But also to mention, like I said, consultations are still available now that I'm back on a regular schedule. I'll be on TikTok Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm working on Telegram. I already have pages up there, but they haven't really gained too much traction. So I'm going to take my audience from TikTok and bring them over to Telegram, and then try to fuse the YouTube and Telegram together. So it's like a centralized hub, and then take it there to another destination. But still going to be the same me. Still be, it is what it is. I just been relaxed and just giving myself a little bit of time from the hectic weeks that basically have ensued in the beginning of this month. But right now it's down to a slow boil. So it is what it is. I'm still here. My TikTok information is in there. I don't know if you can see it. This is all my email information. If you zoom in, whatever the case may be, you'll see it. And that's that, people. I appreciate y'all, and stay tuned for more information coming later. All right? Peace, light, love. Agents, fuck y'all. It is what it is. Still doing me, still going strong. It is what it is. Y'all take care.